Hey guys, welcome to another video of mine, Command AA, and this is your Chelsea transfer daily video where I'll keep you up to date with all the latest transfer news. And we have two stories in this video. Now the first one does regard Willian potentially staying at Chelsea after basically Barca dropping their interest completely, calling their interest, and the second story does regard a potential swap deal for Willian and Martial coming from the other direction from Man United to Chelsea. And basically the first story, getting straight into it, is basically Barca had their third bid rejected from Chelsea. I can confirm from Sky Sports sources, many other publications as well. Basically they put a bid in excess of £55 million, so if you include all the bonuses it'd be about £60 million. Chelsea have officially rejected it. Now basically Chelsea want to keep Willian for the Martial swap deal, is what my source told me, but if the right offer came in from Barca, they'd be very tempted to sell to Barca. Now they told Barca that Willian's valuation is around £70 million. However, Barcelona do not want to meet that valuation, instead have gone for Malcolm, which I'll get into in a minute. Now from what I can conclude, number one, there's many reports and publications, and also my sources told me that Sarri does like Willian a lot. He really wants Willian to stay. He believes he's one of Chelsea's best players, and he believes that he fits Sarri ball. Now that could be a solution as to why we're not selling him. You know, we might keep him, or we're keeping him for the swap deal with United. Now obviously it's worse, we don't want to sell Willian to a rival, but if it means we're getting Martial in return, then it's a good deal. Now it does sound realistic because Chelsea and United have got an actual good relationship, so it makes sense, but I'll get into all that in the second part. But the first part, basically Barca have had their bid rejected by Chelsea, and basically at the moment Willian to Barcelona is dead, so Barca have no interest in pursuing with the deal with Chelsea due to Mourinho's business plan and negotiations, and have turned Bordeaux's hand for Malcolm after saying they'll pay up to 40 to 50. Now basically Roma was supposed to get Malcolm. Basically Malcolm was about to board a plane from Bordeaux to Roma. However, he cancelled this fight last minute after Barcelona showed very strong interest in him, and looks like the Barcelona have turned their interest to Malcolm rather than Willian, and it means that Barcelona will be going to Malcolm as he's cheaper and they believe he's better as he's younger, which means Willian for the time being will stay at Chelsea, will be a Chelsea player. Now there's mixed emotions, mixed feelings at the moment. Some Chelsea fans rate him, some think he's inconsistent, including myself. 6 goals a season is simply not good enough for a player to play for Chelsea. But if it means that we're holding out for the United swap deal, then I'm all for it. I'm completely all for it. But at the moment, Willian to Barcelona is dead. I can confirm that Barca will not be putting in another bid for the time being. They're looking at Malcolm, they're looking at their alternative options. That's what my source basically told me. But getting into the second transfer story now, it does regards Martial coming from United to Chelsea. And basically there are many clubs interested in gaining Martial's signature. Now, obviously Chelsea being one of them, Bayern Munich are another, Tottenham are another one. However, United want to sell Martial abroad. It's completely understandable. They don't want to sell Martial to a domestic rival. Simple as that. Now, the one thing I can give you as a positive is Chelsea have a really good relationship with United, obviously due to Match's sale last year. There hasn't been any arguments or anything. For example, Chelsea-Juventus is a bad relationship, but United, things have been done normally in the past. There hasn't been scamming going on. It's perfectly fine, so that's good. On that terms, it's very good. Also, both clubs have a player on the other side that they really want. United really want Willian, especially Mourinho, and Chelsea really want Martial, so it's a win-win situation. I can definitely see this still happening, but Willian did prefer Barcelona, which could be a stumbling block. But basically, if we did want to get him, Chelsea, basically my source told me that Chelsea will have to pay much more than Bayern Munich, because obviously we are a domestic rival. Obviously we're from the Premier League and we could compete with United. And also United and Mourinho have told Martial that he can leave the club this season if he requests to leave, and he basically told it to Mourinho's face. Now Chelsea are one of the top 4 clubs interested, and the bidding will start at £50 million is what I've been told. But Chelsea will most likely put Willian in the deal plus around £10 to £20 million in cash. United have stuck an £89 million valuation on Martial, which Chelsea are not willing to meet. So therefore Chelsea will probably put Willian within the deal and put an extra £20 million on top of the deal. So I can definitely see this one happening. I would love Martial to be at Chelsea. He's 22 years of age compared to Willian, who's about to hit his 30s. And yeah, for me, Willian's way too inconsistent, and we can get good money for him. Fans are panicking that we rejected the bids. Now, obviously, Barcelona won't be bidding, so they've called their interest. They're going for Malcolm. However, there's still some hope that we can go to Martial, or Willian should stay in because Sarri prefers him. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a good possibility. A lot of outlets and publications have reported that Sarri quite likes Willian, so that could be the case. Or we're saving him for the Martial swap deal. But before I end this video, let's compare them statistically, because it's important that which club is getting a better deal. You want to look at that. Is it worth going for all this process, all this had just for a player who could just be similar? So let's look at the statistics. So basically, Anthony Martial last season played 30 games and played 1,504 minutes, and is 22 years old. Willian is reaching his 30. He's currently 29 years old. Played 5 more games than Martial, with 35 games last season with 1,824 minutes. So he played 5 more games compared to Martial. So you have to take that into consideration when I reveal these statistics. Now, going on to the first statistic, we look at goals scored. So basically, Martial in the season scored more goals. He scored 8 goals compared to Willian's 6. And Martial played much more less games in a really tough system under Jose Mourinho. But you could also argue the same for Willian. He played on the park the bus system. Martial has more goals. Chances created, Willian dominates that stat. He gets 58 chances created last season compared to Martial's 31. But once again, Willian's played more games, but Martial has dominated that statistic. We then go on to assists. Willian once again wins. He's got 7 assists throughout the whole of last season compared to Martial's 5 assists. Then you look at successful passes. Again, Willian has much more successful passes. 693 successful passes compared to Martial's 569 successful passes. But once again, Willian's played more games. So yeah, those are statistics. Those are the key ones that I pointed out, which really, effective for Willian. Now, if Martial does come, he will play in a striking position. That's what Chelsea were when Chelsea was speaking to Martial's representatives. That's what he wanted, and Chelsea agreed to that. But Martial's playing as a winger last season. He played much less games, so that really needs to be taken into consideration. Also, if you look at the pass completion, Martial has a better pass completion, just slightly, with 82% compared to Willian's 81%. So it's really similar. Willian just edges it, but once again, you have to think for the future. Martial is only 22 years of age. He's got full bags of potential compared to Willian, who's 30. And imagine what Martial can do into a perfect Sarri system and coached under Sarri. So you have to also take that into consideration. And he's played less games than Willian, so it is what it is. He can't get in the team because of Alexis Sanchez. But those are the statistics. I'm quite happy with Martial's statistics. Very similar players. I would love to see what Martial can do on the likes of Sarri. Very possible for this potential swap deal to happen, or Willian could stay at Chelsea. But basically, Barca have lost their interest in Chelsea, in Willian. They don't want to meet Willian's £70 million valuation, and therefore they're turning their attention towards Malcolm. But that is your Chelsea transfer news for today. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you for my next video. Peace.